Well, howdy folks, welcome to Retsutalk episode 82. It has been a while since we've done as you might call it, a in-studio ep. We're going back to basics. Remember when we first started doing this, and I think we talked about Breaking Bad for an hour and little else?
No, Prometheus also.
Oh, Prometheus, no, Breaking Bad was the second one.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we're going back to simpler times, just me and the beef.
For now, because
Forever.
No, I'll tell you what prompted this is Davo tweeted me and was like, "Well, I want to do a podcast with you guys," and I'm like, "Yeah, I love Davo, let's do it." And then I'm like, "But there's a lot of shit I did want to talk about before, you know what I mean? Like, just mano-y-mano and things like that." So
he has a way of popping up out of the blue sometimes.
He does, and I always never catch him, you know.
He has his own streaming empire going.
That's true, actually. And I'll give him a plug. He'll be on the podcast next time, I think, maybe.
OG Davo, I believe, is his Twitch.
Yeah, it's look for Dave _O. I think that's where a lot of people like kind of mess up and miss him. You know, it's like OG Dave altogether, but then _O.
Just smoke a shitload of weed and his stream will appear in your browser.
For any newer viewers on stuff, he was always the third member of RP. There was never anyone else, you know. He was the really funny one. No, I'm kidding, of course. No, I asked Proteus, and he was just like, "Go fuck yourself." No, I'm kidding, of course. But
need to find a way to do an RP video sometime that has Proteus and Davo in it at the same time.
No,
that's never happened, and it's like a social experience. They're very different people.
I don't even.
It would probably be a terrible video.
Yeah.
But for science,
right?
I want to see how that would turn out.
Right. I will never forget. I want to bust Davo's chops a little bit because there's when we first started doing RP, like way back in the day, like really the beginning of it. He hit me up on like Skype or something like that, and he was kind of disillusioned with Let's Play. Like it was kind of boring, and I was like. And I had started the thread, Let's Play with YouTube, and I was like, you should see the revolution I'm doing a Let's Play. And he looks at the thread and he goes, that's your revolution? And then a day later he goes, holy shit, this is really good. I want to be on these videos. So it's like, you fucking trust me. Thank you. And then I never did anything else good for like 7 years. But
still working on that. Police Not Selfie will come up sooner or later.
I did want to talk to you about things like that.
Oh, a confrontation, huh?
No. We should. We have a hard enough time getting content for the RP channel, so extra stuff is tricky. I had all sorts of crazy LP ideas for you and I.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Is this what you do? Because you were on vacation last week to the shore.
Uh-huh.
So is this kind of how you spend your idle time on vacation, thinking of crazy LP ideas and ignoring your family?
No, I just play Picross and ignore my family.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I don't know. You know what it is? I'm just so friggin' inundated lately that, like, sometimes, too, even just thinking of fun shit I want to do on YouTube is, like, and you know what I mean? Like, I have a driving commute now, you know? I used to be on the bus a lot, so right. I tend to, like, be alone with my thoughts more, you know?
Here we go.
Like, I listen to podcasts and shit, but I think about things to do. So, no, here's some wacky ideas I have, okay?
Hit me.
Okay. Visual novel book club. It's a kind of video or podcast, right? Where it's like those, you know, those visual novel games that are like just tons of reading and shit.
Of course.
So basically, you have viewers, or you instruct people. Like you have somebody who's like I guess who's read it before, who knows, who tells the like participants like, hey, why don't you read the first? I don't know how these things are broken up or if they are, you know, like 6 chapters or whatever, and then we'll have like an hour-long, almost podcasty kind of video discussion of it where we talk about it like in a book club.
Will that require the listeners to read it as well, though?
Yeah, of course it would.
So you're gonna make the listener do work?
Well, if they want in. It's funny because like those things with a lot of reading, there's like kind of contention. You know, I'd always contended you shouldn't read with the words on screen in a Let's Play. And people have argued with me and things like that, and there's some people who hate it and some people who are like, no, I just like to like have LPs on in the background. I would prefer the LP or read it to me, and there's other people who are like, no, I can read for myself. Thank you, all this stuff. But I was like, I wonder if that's like an interesting sort of like gap bridge kind of thing. If you talk about like text heavy stuff, like, or even just like text heavy sort of games in general, and you like digest them after the fact, so you could still have like a sort of video type of thing, you know, or whatever. I don't know. These are just silly ideas I have, you know, the kinds of things.
That's fine. There are no bad ideas.
Okay.
Except that one.
Right. Hold on. I got another one. This idea is so good, it's actually Cherry Dooms. I think. No, I'm going to tell you it, and I'm going to get everybody in the audience right now clamoring for it, so they start bugging you for it, okay?
I think we owe her a couple of games, by the way.
We do.
I'm deleting that.
I got to give you shit for that. No, the reason we owe her a couple of games is because, what did she do for us that, like...
Well, she drove us around.
She drove us around. I think I offered her gas money.
Terrible city for driving.
I offered her, like, gas money or something, and you didn't even bother, but there was, like, something...
Well, no, you offered gas money, she's like, and then at some point later, she's like, just give me a couple of Steam games.
No, it was...
And then we mysteriously stopped talking to her.
No. What I remember me offering to recompense her for something, and you just keeping your fucking mouth shut. That's how I remember it.
I had brought this up at a separate time.
And I also remember another thing is we were in a cab together at RTX.
Here we go. This was like an episode ago.
I know
this.
Oh, I did this already? Fuck. All right, never mind then.
You did.
All right.
Are you going to bring up the iced coffee episode again as well?
I forgot about that part. I don't even listen to our podcast. No, wait, listen. But this is, I saw her tweet this, and I'm like, oh my god, I want in. Like, she's like, I have one open spot for this. I'm like, want? And then I'm like, oh wait, I'm at work, I can't do that.
What was this idea? Because I think I missed it.
Bloodborne Dungeon World.
Go on.
I don't have to. I was sold one word into that 3-word title. No, Bloodborne Dungeon World sounds completely awesome, personally, I think.
Yeah. So just clear 3 to 4 hours of your completely not busy schedule.
Absolutely.
Done.
Okay. Police knots we gotta do.
That's not even an idea. That's just a
Wait.
A task.
Listen though. Yes.
Yeah.
I have one other crazy idea. What if you and I do a let's play kind of thing of a game with a lot of text in it?
Like an RPG.
Or Phoenix Wright. Because fuck it.
Why don't you just say Phoenix Wright?
Because I was also maybe thinking of 999. I was actually thinking of 999, truthfully.
Okay.
I'll tell you, but then that's where the book club at. Because 999 is like, there are like walls of text in it.
It is primarily visual novel with puzzles in between, right?
I prefer adventure game with very long cutscenes. I don't know very much about visual novels. I've never actually read one, I don't think, but like I noticed that like people who like visual novels, they tend to try to like transmogrify other games into them. Like some people will be like, Snatcher's a visual novel, and I'm like, go fuck yourself. It's an adventure game, you know.
Is King's Quest a visual novel?
No, of course not. Not at all. To me, a visual novel is like an odd animal that really is mostly a linear not third person, but like a linear, like you are reading someone else's story kind of experience.
You can just say Meat and Fuck Kingdom.
Okay, well that I would call...
It's fine.
I would call that more visual art.
I call it a visual experience.
No, but like, I think the best... I think if you were to tell me you thought Police Knots was a visual novel, even though I would disagree, I would say that's a little more in line, which for reasons we'll talk about maybe during the Let's Play. But Snatcher, it's supposed to be like, you are Gillian Seed. You know what I mean? You're playing as him. You're in his shoes. You're hunting Snatchers and...
His gum shoes.
Exactly.
Hey.
That kind of thing, you know?
Right.
But visual novels, I feel like they're not exactly video games, although they have like look like a duck, talk like a duck kind of aspects to them.
Okay.
You know, there's music, there's graphics, there's words on screen, there's maybe some small animations, and okay, fine, maybe you'll have some interactive choice kind of things, but it's not like, it doesn't feel like an adventure game to me, like where there's like puzzles to solve, or you don't get to see more of the story or things like that, you know? I don't know.
I've never really played visual novels myself, but aren't they just all text and choices of text to say, and then there's more text?
That's exactly what I say.
Beginnings and middles and ends. There's no nothing really beyond that.
Right, like 999, I kind of look at it like a visual novel with like escape the room puzzles between it, but it's still then something I would call an adventure game, or an adventure game with long cutscenes, because there's real deal puzzles you have to solve, or you don't get to play more game, or you don't get to see more story. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that is a bit of a... I mean, I know, like, you might say, like, well, aren't you kind of splitting hairs here? And maybe to some degree, but I do feel like there is a difference between an adventure game, you know, that was, like, a kind of, like, I want you to solve these puzzles to like, sort of accomplish something or whatever, you know, or be challenged, and a visual novel, which is just, like, this is sort of a different storytelling medium, but the storytelling is the only real part of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm off there. Let's hear your thoughts in the comments below.
Well, I'm looking at the Wikipedia article for 999, and it says 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors is a visual novel adventure game.
Well, just read the Wikipedia for it in like 3 more minutes. Hold on. And we'll see how it says then.
So case closed.
Visual novel adventure game. Oh, a VNAG.
Yeah.
All right.
Is Phoenix Wright a visual novel?
I would say no. I think Phoenix Wright, I think I talked about this, is like a good marriage, is the perfect marriage between Western courtroom drama and Eastern animation. But that doesn't
Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney is a visual novel adventure video game developed by Capcom.
See, I don't really know. Maybe, all right, maybe I'm just being an old fogey. But like just saying something's a visual novel adventure game is like trying to have your cake and eat it too.
So are you gonna get mad if I pull up the Police Knots article?
What if, like, why don't you just call an actual book then, like an ultra-linear, non-visual novel, you know?
Well, actually, okay, Police Knots is a graphic adventure game with a hard science fiction storyline.
I'll tell you how Konami themselves refer to Snatcher and Police Knots, which I think is very descriptive. If you have the Japanese versions of the PlayStation games, on the bottom, in Snatcher is called a cyberpunk adventure, but Police Knots is called an interactive cinema. Just take that.
Well, now you just pulled the rug out from under me.
I'll tell you.
Snatcher is a cyberpunk-themed graphic adventure game, not a visual novel.
That's the thing where I throw the distinction, because I've heard people... Well, I guess to be fair, Snatcher has a lot of voice acting, which does help divorce it from a visual novel, but I don't think that that's really, like... I don't know. I don't feel like it should be necessarily a litmus test kind of thing, even though maybe I'm going against things I've said previously in this very podcast. I just feel like if there is any sort of game there, like even puzzles, even if they're just kind of like clunkily interspersed, which in some ways maybe 999 you could argue is like that, it's still a gating system, like with a challenge, you know what I mean? There's still like a challenge gated to you kind of thing. Visual novels, like... I don't know. The way I had heard about them is that you read them. Like you're never blocked from the story by anything. Just, you know, your time is the only barrier.
Meat and Fuck Kingdom is one of the most highly regarded visual novels of the. Oh, that's not actually Wikipedia.
That's what I edited the 999 article into.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I call it 999, but it really is 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. But, like, I showed you a little bit of Zero Time Dilemma.
You did?
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, you know, I kind of want to show Betus. I've been wanting to show you 999 and Phoenix Wright for, like, some time. And that, to me, was the reason I wanted to do Let's Play way back when, you know? Is, like, I want to show people, like, Snatcher and a cool game and things like that. And, you know... Yeah, so...
Well, everybody except me has played Phoenix Wright, pretty much, right?
Exactly right. So, you know... I know it probably wouldn't work, but maybe we'll stream it one night, see how you like the first case, because it's pretty short, you know, that kind of deal. I don't know. Just ideas I'm throwing out there.
It sounds like it's worth a try. Why not?
Why not? But I guess we gotta finish Police Knots first. Or start it.
Start Police Knots first.
When do you want to start it, right?
Let's just put this commentary over Police Knots.
Okay.
What if you give me the English Police Knots and I translate it to Japanese? We'll see how close it is to the original, which will reflect on your work.
That's true. And then I'll translate it back to English until it somehow becomes Snatcher.
Or Meat and Fuck Kingdom.
All right, let's talk about other stuff, because I have a lot I want to talk about.
Well, speaking of games that I haven't really experienced much, I've kind of had my first-ish experience with Pokemon. With this new... Have you heard of this? Has anyone listening heard of this? This Pokemon Go. The Go's in all caps.
No.
So...
More like Pokemon No, or Pokemon...
More like Pokemon Below.
I found on my Facebook feed, one of my real-life friends... The first time I've ever actually seen this in the wild, somebody complaining about people playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah, don't you hate it when people have fun?
I know.
Post about their fun things they do.
I will say this.
Fuck them.
I've heard about that, and I was like, who the fuck would complain about Pokemon Go? Who gives a shit? It's a fun game. People are having fun with it, whatever. But with all the...
someone in your family?
Nah, it's like a friend of a friend kind of deal. But there is so much bullshit political things happening on my Facebook, it was like a breath of fresh air. I'm like, oh my god, one post that doesn't make me want to rip my eyes out. Thank you. So even though I don't agree with the post, it was like, whew, you know, it's like an oasis, but the water still tasted a little funky, but at least you drank. So no, I really like Pokemon Go. I don't play very much of it, but I do enjoy it very much.
It gives you a nice excuse to get out and move.
Let me tell you what can I tell you my Pokemon Go experience?
Okay.
We're down the shore, you know, my family rented a beach house. Mm-hmm. And I think that somebody had thrown a lure, like, right outside our house. Because I noticed there were, like, Pokemon coming up in, like, our living room. And they, like, you know how then, like, so do we have to explain the game at all? I think people know what it is. I think people... Yeah, I don't think that's necessary.
Enough people have played it.
There's going to be, like, one hermit in, like, Alaska who listens to this podcast for some reason.
What's a Pokemon?
Why won't they explain it to me? Voted one.
Oh, these creatures real or what?
But they all started appearing near my mom. And, like Poliwag.
She was the lure.
You know Poliwag? Like, there's a picture of her. She's holding a wine glass. She's smiling at, like, my daughter far away. But, like, Poliwag's in the way. So it looks like she's, like, toasting Poliwag, kind of. And then,
Your CP is very good, sir.
And then at one point, she, like, looked up. And there was, like, a Rhyhorn there. And then, like, there was a Squirtle. Like, and I was showing her. Then I'm like, Mom, you got, like, all these Pokemon on you. She doesn't know what a Pokemon is. But, like... Good. She's like, she was getting upset, like, oh, I don't want these creatures around me and stuff.
Well, Mom, they're not real.
I know, but it was like weird because you know how you catch them and you point them around the room or around the wherever you are.
Augmented reality,
right? And they're usually in different directions and shit.
Right.
These are all just like I know it was random, but like they just all happened to be right around where my mother was sitting. It was ridiculous. So then I threw a lure too. I caught like 6 Pokemon.
Congratulations.
Just in the beach house, I know.
Did you do anything else at the Jersey Shore?
And then I woke up and there was a Magikarp flopping around on my crotch.
And you kind of let it settle there for a little while?
No, I just let it flop a little bit.
No.
Magikarp does kind of rule. Yeah, so there's that. No, what did you want to talk about with Pokemon Go? I totally rolled it.
But it's. I think Pokemon Go is weird because I don't think it's like a very good game. Because there's a lot of things broken with it, like tracking, which is a pretty integral part of it, doesn't even work right now. Mm-hmm. Which is weird. Because do you know about that?
Kind of, yeah. I did a paper on Pokemon Go. I really did.
There's the footsteps when you're getting, like, it worked when the game first came out, but when you're closer, there's like one footstep in your little Poke legend thing. Now everything is 3 footsteps, so you can't tell if you're actually getting close to one or further away. And since they're working on their server issues right now, it looks like that won't even be fixed for a good while. So it's like an essential part of the game, and it doesn't even work.
To be fair to Niantic, this is a very, this was a very ambitious game, and I think it's an interesting sort of thing because they basically didn't even really market it. You know,
I don't think they were prepared for how popular this would be.
I think they had an idea, but like I don't think anyone would have been prepared for just how big Pokemon Go got and how fast. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
I just remember it suddenly being on the App Store. I was like, oh, I'll test this out. Like, I don't remember any hype or anything.
No, it was like all word of mouth. They like sent one tweet, and No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bulldoze your thing there. No, and correct me. So tell me how this works exactly. The way it was supposed to work is the number of footsteps. Like you pick that nearby thing.
Yeah, so there's like 9 Pokemon that are potentially in your vicinity with little footsteps below them. And if there's 3, that means they're, I don't know, so many meters away. 2 within smaller radius, and 1, you're pretty much right there. So what you can do is you can just walk around an area and have the thing open and see if the footsteps change. But now that doesn't work, so you just have no idea if you're getting close to one or not.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks.
Well,
because that's a pretty big part of Pokemon is hunting for them.
You know what I really like about Pokemon Go? Because I've read a couple of, like, Twitter things about it. How, like, I think it's, like, called, like, late-stage capitalism and how, like, I don't know, like, Nintendo, or not really Nintendo, like, Niantic and the Pokemon Company are, like, making so much money and taking it away from small businesses. And there's, like kind of these think pieces about it. That, like, it's like, oh, now when you go out and walk, you don't go to, like, local shops and you look for Pokemon. So now Nintendo's taking all, even though it's not Nintendo, Nintendo's taking all your money and shit like that. But in reality, what's actually happening is small businesses are making these mutualistic marketing things. There's, like, some coffee shop in New York, apparently, where they happened to find themselves by a Pokestop, and, like, a bunch of people came in. So they got the app, and they bought lures, and they just, like, you know, they like, or incense, I think, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Pokemon lures, they're called. Lures are the things you put on the stops. Incense is what attracts Pokemon to you specifically.
Oh, okay. So they bought lures, yeah. They, like, and they, like, have, like, signage that's like, hey, come in, have coffee, grab Pokemon. And, like, so, like, small businesses around are actually, like, using this to, like, kind of help boost them. It's, like, a totally... I really think Pokemon Go is just kind of great on almost every level.
It's a neat concept. I just think there's some, as far as like game stuff goes, I think it's kind of lacking a little bit.
I don't think though.
But I still like it. Like it gives me an excuse to walk around and just hatch eggs I have. I like to run so I can have that on and feel like I'm more productive.
I guess I do get you in terms of, like, if you were to compare it to other video games, it's not a very meaty experience, surely.
Well, yeah, there's no real, like, interactivity from player to player. Like, you can put your Pokemon in a gym, but you never actually, like, fight somebody while they're fighting you. You just fight a CPU version of their Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think the thing with Niantic, too, is, like, to be totally fair, this is kind of a product more than it is like a game.
Well, it's a marketing thing for Pokemon Sun and Moon, isn't it?
Oh, is it? I didn't know about that.
I think it's like a hype thing for that which is upcoming. I think it was one of the purposes of it.
See, okay, here's the tricky thing though. So, you know, it used to be like Ingress.
Yeah, I'd heard of that.
Yeah, Niantic had
their previous game.
Right, exactly. Their previous game was Ingress, which it was kind of similar in terms of, like, you could take over spots and, like, you know, there was, I don't know.
It's more of a sci-fi thing?
Yeah, exactly. But they were collecting all the location data to find, like, you know, routes and stops. And that's how they built up, you know, all the stops and stuff in the gyms and things like that in Pokemon Go, you know? Like, they used all the user location data from, and by the way, to be clear, Pokemon Go is absolutely doing that now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if nothing else, they can sell the fuck out of that location data. But, like, it's funny, you know, it's funny, too, like, that location data is really valuable. Just really quick, when I was at the Apple Developer Conference, I met a guy, he got kind of rich off this app he made called Trapster, which was just, it was, like, old back in the day, but it used like, the map stuff to, just have people who would mark, like, where cops were on the roads, you know, like speed traps. And he said, like, he sold it for, like, just the data that he had collected from it. It was a free app for, like, I think, like, a couple $100,000 to some company. Woo. I shouldn't say he got rich, but you know what I mean? He did really well off this one app. He's kind of a weirdo, but,
So when we do police nuts, can you turn on location data?
Yes!
So we can get that shit?
We're doing it in this podcast right now.
Oh my god.
No, I mean, I'm sure Niantic's making money hand over fist with this. But, like,
Do you remember, there was a news story shortly after the game came out where Nintendo stock surged?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone thought that they made Pokemon Go and they didn't really have much to do with it at all. And then when that knowledge was more mainstream, their stock went way back down.
Well, it's funny. It's
makes you feel comfortable about the stock market and the financial sector.
Well, I mean, to be totally fair, well, it's a very weird thing, right? Because Nintendo is making money off this, certainly. Sure. I mean, they had to. I mean, they didn't just go, yeah, you can have Pokemon, that's fine. Like for free, like
they're the whole IP.
Right? Yeah, I'm sure.
We have no plans with.
Just give us $1,000 for fun. Because also too, like, and you have to. This is like, and Nintendo's recently, like with Miitomo, been getting into the handheld phone market, smartphone market, because like in a way it's tricky for them because it's also kind of like a competing product in some ways with like 3DS and things like that. You know what I mean?
Was Miitomo a success? Because just anecdotally from my experience, I played it for like a day and then deleted it.
I'm sure it was. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Truthfully,
there wasn't much to do.
I don't know how much it cost them.
There was plenty of in-app purchases, so if enough people were on that, then yeah. It was probably a success.
Yeah, and as long as you get enough traffic, microtransaction stuff usually works out. Yeah, I don't know that it was a success, but like, and I know someone will be like, "What do you mean competing product?" But I think there is probably a fear on the Nintendo side that like people, like casual smartphone gaming people, are just like, "Why do I want to buy a 3DS or a DS when I can just play play it on my iPhone?"
It's valid, sure.
Yeah, and Nintendo is definitely interested in the casual market. I mean, that's like the Wii's bread and butter. It was the Wii's bread and butter, So, so it's like interesting then to see them go, okay, let's maybe dip our toe in the water with Miitomo, so to speak. And then I thought maybe Niantic approached them like, hey, we got this whole Ingress thing, but we have a much better thing we could do with it if we combine it with Pokemon. You know what I mean? I didn't realize it was a marketing tie-in with Sun and Moon. Which then,
I'm not totally sure if that's accurate, but that is a thing I heard.
It could be the other way around then too, where someone at Pokemon Company has played Ingress and is like, wait a sec, I got a pretty good idea here. Or was possibly shopping around for like who's got all this, like, this is like a global thing, right? So like, who's got this worldwide location data of stops and everything, and they shop around in Niantic's like we do from Ingress, So we'll take
all of our money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Niantic, used to be part of Google too, or Alphabet, I should say. Yeah,
Alphabet. Get out of here.
I don't know why they did that.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, it is. Yep, it really is. Why? Because I think
a letter of the alphabet.
I think they kind of wanted to be like, Google's a search engine, and it's like it's for like Gmail. You know what I mean? There's like we have all sorts of product offer and service offerings and things like that. We'd like Google to just be like one part of it, kind of deal. But
why not just have it all be Google?
I don't know.
Google
honestly.
Everything.
I really don't know. There might be some other like kind of intelligence behind it that I'm not aware of, but I think it's kind of a weird gesture or a weird thing to have done.
But as far as Pokemon Go, they are supposedly going to add some new stuff in the future. Like more player interaction stuff, which is what I think is pretty much lacking right now, like trading shit.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps battling, I don't know. I think trading is the only major thing I heard.
Honestly, it's such a good like start, I think, personally. I'm like all for Pokemon Go.
I went to a mall a couple weekends ago that has this, outside area, the walking path, which has like several Pokestops around it.
Okay.
And it was like a Saturday. There were lures on almost all of them, and it was packed with just people everywhere. It's crazy. Never seen anything like it. It's a phenomenon. It's nuts. What's with the Pokemon? I don't understand. Pokemon? All these people talking about Pokemon.
I heard someone referred. Oh, my in-laws, like my father-in-law, I think referred to it as Pokemon, and
I think that's how people on the internet ironically refer to it.
He was not being ironic.
You're playing the Pokemon.
He said something like, "I don't get these Pokemons" or something like that. I forget. I like heard it and I was like, because when I first heard it, I thought it was like kind of cutesy talk, like the interwebs. But then I realized like, oh, he wouldn't do that because he doesn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's not like an internet guy by any stretch.
What's your favorite Pokemon?
What's my favorite? Probably still Grimer.
Grimer. Does Grimer exist in Pokemon Go?
Yeah, it's
Is that a first gen thing?
Mm-hmm. It was, and that was another thing my mom surprised me with. She was like, I heard there's 150 of them. And I was like, hey, because the news mentioned it. It's really 151.
Did you set her straight?
No, what the fuck?
No, mother.
My mother give a shit how many fucking Pokemon.
Maybe she wants to hear how smart her son is every once in a while.
That's true.
Actually, mother.
Actually, mother.
Yeah, you can maybe add another one. And then she disowns you.
I'm looking at our agenda for this, by the way, and I'm just looking at my notes, and one of them is Pokemon Go, comma, my mom.
My mom was named Pokemon Go.
Shit.
I'm down with Oddish personally.
My wife does not like Oddish, which I think is odd because
she's a fool.
I think Oddish is very cute.
I mean, look at this. I'm looking at this motherfucker right now. Just look at him.
I'm a Bellsprout guy.
I like Bellsprout too.
I'm just looking at pictures of Grimer now, and there's one, like, he's usually just kind of happy, but there's one where he's just, like, his mouth is so wide open.
So wide open?
But he's just, like, it's completely wacky, you know?
Is that the Pokemon I laughed at a lot when I was on your stream the one time?
Him and Magikarp. Actually, I do like
Magikarp.
Magikarp's great, because he just doesn't do anything. He just splashes. It doesn't, like, hit
I've caught a few Magikarp. You need so many of their candies to evolve it into whatever that super thing is.
Gyarados. I don't know how to pronounce it. He was a heavy hitter when I played the game, you know. But I feel like I should play another Pokemon game. I like that one. Maybe
you can play Sun and Moon when they come out.
Maybe we should do a Nuzlocke.
Maybe we should play Pokemon Go. What team are you on?
No.
What team are you on?
Oh, I'm on the blue team.
I'm also on the blue team. I guess we're both really boring. Isn't the blue team the one that's all thoughtful and shit?
I forget, honestly. I think it is, yeah. I read them kind of briefly, and then I was just like, blue sounds like a good color.
Blue's a good color.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, red is wild. They don't like, but I don't know what the hell. So.
I think the yellow team is like the assholes, and I don't even know what the red team is. Something about Valor.
Oh yeah, that's Team Valor. Valor. I think blue is Instinct.
Mystic.
Oh, Mystic.
Yellow is Instinct.
All right, whatever. Sorry.
God, what level are you even at in this game?
6. What level are you at? Like 100?
Like 20. If you do a lot of walking, you can get a lot of experience, because hatching eggs gets you nice shit. Gets you new Pokemon. The candies, evolve that shit.
Some good stuff.
It's nuts.
Agreed. I've heard, by the way, if you download Ingress, like their old app, Niantic's, that the map of the things on Ingress actually, like, kind of help you find rare Pokemon.
Oh.
Like, I guess for whatever reason, like, the stops that are marked in that game, you know, I guess correspond to whatever.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. I know it's fucking interesting. It's why I brought it up on the goddamn podcast.
Right?
Yeah, serious. I want to talk about 2 games that are a lot better.
Okay, let's talk about some real video games.
Furi.
Tell me more. Is that F-U-R-I or F-U-R-Y?
F-U-R-I. Oh, get Furi. It's so fucking good. I've heard it's kind of
Steam now.
It's kind of like Metal Gear Rising meets Alien Soldier, although I'm thinking more like Nier meets No More Heroes. All right, you're a prisoner, okay? And you're basically fighting jailers and other people in the prison. It's all boss fights, okay? You will be doing very fast parrying, which heals you. You'll be dodging bullets or shooting back and shooting through bullets, dashing through things. It's very intense and, like, rhythmic and awesome.
God.
All the character designs are by the guy who did Afro Samurai. So they are, like, super awesome, like, just boss designs are great.
Okay, I'm watching the trailer now on Steam.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna see if I'll pull it up with you.
Okay, so you got with the big old sword.
Yeah, you have a sword and like a gun that's like infinite ammo, you know?
What will you fight for? It asks me.
Well,
very stylish.
It's so stylish. Like, if you saw, I don't know if you saw one of the bosses, but like, it's like there's like an old man who's like meditating with like a pair of headphones. It's like so good. Oh, I'm looking at the trailer now and I love everything about it so much. It's really,
I don't have
cool.
the sound on. Is the music really high
Yes,
octane?
the music's great. Oh god, I love Furi so much. You got to play it like immediately.
Oh my god.
It's
I'll
like,
get on that.
I streamed the whole thing and now I'm streaming the hard mode just because I love it. So I just love every fucking minute of it. It is hard. Some jerks.
Would you say it's the Dark Souls of Metal Gear Rising?
Yes. No, it's hard, but it's very like rewarding hard because when you get through it, you feel like, oh, like you get in that like kind of like, oh, I'm on kind of zone. You know what I mean? And there's like really clutch kind of things that happen. It's almost done sort of fighting game roundy. Like you have like 3 kind of lives and the bosses have like, let's say 6 kind of phases and they're, and all these are signified by little dots under your health meter. So let's say you're about to die, but you beat the phase of the boss fight. Your energy gets restored then for the next phase. And then vice versa, if you get quote-unquote killed or you lose a quote-unquote life, if your health bar is decreased to 0, your energy gets refilled for the next life, but the boss's life for that phase is refilled as well. So
looking at a gameplay trailer now, this does look really fucking fun.
Yeah. And so the point I'm getting at is you can't really like cheese a boss per se. Like you can't bang your head.
There's no button mashing.
Right, yeah. You have to like kind of get into flow and like, oh, it's so good.
Nice. What kind of time commitment are we talking here? Quick game? Longish game?
It's I'd say like, relatively quick, you know?
How long did it take you, Slowbeef, who was bad at video games?
I streamed it, so I want to say like maybe 8 hours on my first playthrough.
Wow, that looks cool.
It's so good, man. Wow. Don't spoil yourself too much either, because like there's some bosses you walk into and you're like, wow, what is this? Can I tell you a little bit about the second boss? Just a tiny bit. Okay. There's like a guide. I won't tell you too much about the guide, but the guide is like kind of introduces the next boss in like a little like cutscene-y sort of way. And he's talking about this boss. Basically, he's like is another prisoner in the prison, and they had like her in a prison of regenerating walls, so she would shoot one down and it would keep coming at her and it drove her crazy. When you get to her, she's this woman in like, you know, the Hannibal Lecter kind of hand truck and straitjacket deal?
Yes.
She's she's trussed up like that, but her head is a goddamned laser cannon. So she's like wheeling around the room, shooting at you with these like giant fuck off lasers and shit. And like the third phase, all of a sudden her arms, I said this on stream, her arms break free and she pulls out a goddamn scythe from the back of her like thing that unfolds. And it's like the coolest fucking thing. And I said on stream, thank you for having a scythe. It was like my eyes were bugging out. Like, I don't believe this was so cool. And it just upped the ante. And it keeps going. It's so
You were Tex Averying.
Oh my god, it's so good. I want to play it. I want to play it right fucking now.
Is it your game of the year?
Yeah, so far it's really awesome.
Oh, really?
I love it so much. There is not a single thing I don't like about it. Some I forget, one of the game sites wrote like it's the bad kind of hard, and they're fools. Like, it's so much fun. It's not even like, because Dark Souls, and please don't get me wrong, I love Dark Souls, it's a little involving in its difficulty. This is like, you could like turn off your brain and like, I like to I talk through bullet hells on stream. This one I'm like, I kind of have to be like, all right, you need to give me a minute while I fight this boss. You know what I mean? It's like, you just have to get in that zone. It's so cool.
Is dying not too bad since it's all boss fight based? You just go back to the beginning of the phase or the beginning of the whole boss fight each time you die?
Remember how I said you had 3 lives? So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, you gain a life back if you win a phase of a fight, though.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I will say, like, sometimes if like one or two bosses do have like kind of like a tough last phase, and then if you lose to that, you have to do the whole thing over again, which for a stream is kind of like, damn it. But like, right. I don't mind that much, because then by the time you've gotten there, you've understood the previous phases of the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But do your viewers mind?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't care. I love the game so much. I don't even.
Yeah, fuck them.
It's so good. It's so good.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh, God, I forgot about the scythe.
I want to play it now.
Now I'm going to tell you about another great game that's also just as good.
Yeah. Just as good?
Yes. Age of Barbarian. Okay. So let me tell you, I made a little show thing on my channel called True Gamer.
True Gamer, yes.
Yeah.
I cut my footage that I graciously provided you after working very hard to get it to you.
Yeah, right. After like insisting you don't have any sort of camera, and then I have to wait till we meet at RTX. I wrote a part for him in True Gamer, which is near the very end, if you've watched it, where I realized that you, Diabetes, were the one who had played the game after all.
Right.
And you were supposed to come up and be like, actually, I think it was me who did that. And we filmed that, and I still have the footage, by the way. But then
it's great footage.
Yes, it is funny.
It's a golden 5 seconds.
No, but I also recorded the outtakes, which actually were kind of funny. Because you were screwing around.
Yeah, I did one really exaggerated one.
I gotta post that actually. So what happened next? Oh, so Matt from Two Best Friends Play. I was looking for I asked him or Wooly if they would do a clip for me for that, right? Yep. And Matt did it. And what he said
That's one reason, by the way, that I wound up delaying my footage, because I saw like the amazing camera that he apparently had.
Yeah.
And I just have my phone. I was like, are you sure you want me to?
Everybody, I did want to talk about it. I wanted to thank people, but like everybody did, actually, I thought everybody did great on it. Like Voice of Dog just like nailed like a couple things, and everybody kind of did their parts in ways that I didn't expect, you know, especially
like Psychedelic Eyeball, for instance.
Psychedelic Eyeball like did it like nothing like I was imagining it, but was like
I was assuming when I watched that, I was like, I bet he did not get any stage directions from Slow Beef. He's just making this all up himself.
No, yeah, because I had actually, well, it's funny. So I'll tell you what happened too. Like Psychedelic Eyeball's final line in that, like in the second scene, was like, and yes, I do. The way I wanted it to be very stern and angry, like, and yes, I do take donations in Bitcoin. You know what I mean? But he was just like, I don't know why, but like after that whole thing goes, and by the way, yes, I do take donations in Bitcoin. You know, like a very genteel kind of thing, which I hadn't even thought of, and I'm like, that's actually really good. And
that's a thespian's instincts.
Exactly. And the very over the top like review of the Jaws ways, it was great. And even Matt too, Matt did a thing where like what I'd wanted with his last thing was like the joke was like he's talking about how stupid the Jaws, I don't know if you watched it.
I did.
Okay.
I'm a supportive friend.
Thank you. This would be the first thing of mine you probably watched. No, when he's talking about how stupid an idea this would be for an RPG. And for the record, I was not obviously there with Matt. I just used a different microphone, like a worse microphone on purpose to make it sound like I was off camera. But I was like, so anyway, the joke is supposed to be like, oh, no, it's not an RPG and all that stuff. But like, I want him to say like, well, you know, you wouldn't do that in an action game. And then you say about the Jaws, but there's a Jaws video game, and have him go, there's a Jaws video game. Wait, why? Like, as if, like, the joke kind of is like, we've been talking about that this whole time, and he had no idea, you know what I mean? And then the sort of realization, like, wait, why? But he kind of, like, did it, like, I don't know how to describe it. It was, like, really cool, though.
Like, just flabbergasted.
Yeah, and then, like, wait, why? Like, it was perfect. Like, I didn't really... And then Voice of Dog does a really subtle, good thing, which I didn't direct him to do, but, like, I just included in the script, where he goes, like, you know, something, well, in Jaws the Revenge, and then he just very quickly and subtly looks at you, the viewer, like looks into the camera, which I told him not to. He goes, the good one, and then back, which is like, yeah, that was like perfect. So, you know, so thank you everyone. PA Master was awful. No, I'm kidding. But, I wrote the first 2 pages of the script for the next one.
And this is going to be, can I spoil the subject matter?
You can spoil the game.
Yeah, yeah. Golgo 13, right?
Yeah, exactly. Top secret episode, Golgo 13.
Nice.
Yeah, so... Oh, anyway, so what happened was, though, to get back on topic here, Matt did a thing. Oh, yeah. So he DM'd me his, like, videos and stuff, and he's like, as payment now, you're gonna have to play Age of Barbarian. So, I streamed that the night before last. Okay. I don't know what the fuck it is. I'm kind of almost feeling like maybe we need to do a Sonic 06 on it kind of thing. Because...
It's bad?
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad.
See, Age of Barbarian Extended Cut. Looking it up on Steam now.
What's funny is everybody in my stream chat watching it, like without fail, as they come in and watch it, they go, when was this game made? And then somebody goes 2016 and no one believes them. And then it's what it really is. It was actually made in 2012. So as I understand it, have you ever heard of yeah, I think you've seen visuals of it now.
Yeah, I'm looking.
It's basically like Conan the Barbarian, the game, sort of, but like, everyone in the game is like naked or almost naked.
Walking like they're constipated.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like, You know Poser models? Have you ever heard of Poser? It's like this, I think it's this animation program.
I feel like I've heard the name.
Well, at any rate, Poser, yeah, it's like, I think people like use it to like, they're supposed to use it to just move character models so they can draw it in another thing. But like, this person who made this game used it to like, kind of like in a Mortal Kombat-y way where they like, move the characters and had each frame of animation be like a render of that, and it comes across like very mannequin-y and stilted.
I'm reminded of the Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero game looking at this.
Yeah, it's like that but crappy. Like,
and of course Sub-Zero was a fantastic game.
Right.
You can see our long play of it.
It's very violent, and there's like, it's funny, so you in the options, you can specify if you want to censor the nudity or not. So the first night I streamed it...
Well, then what game is there if you censor that?
Well, here's the best part. So what happens is, there is a scene where my character, Shayna...
Was somebody just getting crucified?
In the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the game.
Okay. Cool.
You can play as Rahan, who really does look exactly like Conan, or Shayna, who's... this girl with like a loincloth and like two like things over her nipples that look like bronze nipples.
Mm-hmm. And quite a prominent tushy.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. You see a lot of her. No, but and she. Yeah. So there's one scene where she gets naked. Now, and for my second stream, I turned censorship on because I'm like, I want to put some of this on YouTube, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time editing it. Right. So when she's naked, they put like a little like blur kind of over her boobs, but then what happens is there's a close-up like portrait of her when she's talking in a cutscene, and they just completely forgot about that. So then her boobs are just like there, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess forget it. And then but then the censored part of the boobs are still there on top of her portrait, meaning like from her sprite below the like everything in the game seems just a little broken as shit. Or like, so there's like a saber-toothed tiger, for example, that'll jump on you, and you have a QTE where you gotta mash buttons to get him off. If you do it on the edge of the screen, your character will get up and just start running and will never stop, and then you have to like just, okay, like then you have to quit the game and start again. And there's kind of like pseudo in-depth not really. Like you have like an invincibility roll and parrying and stuff, but none of it really works very well, and I found if I mashed the buttons just randomly, I would confuse the AI and win most of the fights.
So the game was made 4 years ago, but only released this year?
So I think it was made like 4 years ago, and then it got kickstarted, and it was successful, the Kickstarter, and I think the kickstarted version like added levels and maybe the female character and things like that, you know? And then it got released on Steam, and basically Matt directed me to play this. He apparently just couldn't beat the final boss, which I'm interested in. But it's like kind of weird bullshit, but also like interesting in how strange it is. Like there's like a scene where you're riding velociraptors and I don't know why. And I don't know. It's just a weird fucking game, but...
And does it have an addictive soundtrack?
No.
Because I'm looking at the Steam description and it sells that it has an addictive soundtrack.
It does not have an addictive soundtrack. I mean, I should say the soundtrack is way too good for what it is, which kind of makes me think, like, this was stolen from somewhere. Oh, and also, I'm playing a castration-only run, but not by choice. You can cut the dicks off all the enemies in the game.
Even, like, the dragons and shit?
I don't know about the dragons, but, like, all, like, the humanoid characters, if you're the girl and you do the downward swipe up, it's like... I don't know why, but it's almost always the castration move. And they like scream and hold their bloody crotches and like fall to the ground. Like when I say that, I don't mean there's like some accidental mismatch of animation. Like they intentionally put that in, you know?
I did a similar thing in GoldenEye, actually.
You know, it's exactly the same move.
Do you remember that? You could shoot everybody in the crotch and they'd have these really painful looking death animations, which is kind of surprising for that era.
Actually, yeah, I do kind of remember that now. Yeah, so maybe Age of Barbarian isn't that original in that.
James Bond did it first.
And Navigator said that game was bad.
Right.
So here's the deal. I would excuse me, recommend Age of Barbarian from ironic sake. I'm sure you've probably seen it by now. Like a lot of the big YouTubers have done videos on it and stuff, but
this is the first I've seen of it. I don't watch YouTubers. I have taste.
I know, like, Sterling did a video on it. PewDiePie did a video.
Never heard of him.
No, you should never. It's not a good game. I wouldn't recommend playing much of it. It's 13.
I'm looking at a screenshot where it looks like you're... Oh, no, that's him holding an axe. It looked like he was throttling a velociraptor to death, but no, it looks... The screenshot doesn't make any sense.
Not a lot in the game makes sense, honestly. It's a very weird game, but like just tons of nudity.
So if I were to ask you, should I play this or Furi first, I'm assuming you will say the latter.
Yes. Which one was the latter?
Furi.
Yes. Play them at the same time.
Done. I need another computer.
Indeed. I started doing looking at Google image search stuff for Age of Barbarian, and then you ever like
finding a lot of DeviantArt? Probably.
Yeah, and then just completely unrelated stuff that's just like what, and then I'm like, all right, I'm going down the rabbit hole here. I got to knock it off.
Your spank bank can only hold so much.
Indeed.
Right.
We're at the 55-minute mark. Was there anything else there was one thing I wanted to talk about, but was there anything else you wanted to bring up?
Game-wise, not so much.
Can I tell you a funny story? You could help me tell the story, maybe?
You absolutely may.
Alrighty. Alright, so this is about PewDiePie. Because one day I'm on a business trip in Colorado, and I'm in my hotel room, and you text me something very odd about PewDiePie.
Mm-hmm.
One day, Betus texts me, just in the morning, like when I'm out there. I woke up, I'm in my hotel room, I see him text me, and he goes, "So PewDiePie subscribed to us." And it's like, I guess maybe one of the last text messages I've ever expected to receive in my life. Because I thought really, if PewDiePie had thought anything of me or RP or anything, it would be like, oh, that guy I don't like who made that video about me 4 years ago, fuck him. But, you were like...
Yeah, one day I was just like, I wonder who the popular people are who are subscribed to retsupurae. So I signed on, organized the subscriber list by number of subscribers, and there he was at the very top, and he had subscribed as of that time, a couple of days ago.
Yeah, so it was a weird coincidence that you had caught it soon after it had happened, and now it does turn out that PewDiePie and I have a mutual friend, believe it or not, in Cry Was Taken, is his Twitter handle, Chaotic Monkey. Cry Cry wasn't online at that time, so when this happened, I was really like racking my brain with it because I'm like, why the fuck would he subscribe to us? Like, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
you know,
I blocked him immediately. No, I didn't.
No, but like, it really though. So if you didn't, for those of you who I guess are newer, for about 4 years ago, I made this video called "Adults React to PewDiePie," which is kind of like sort of like a mockery thing of like the Fine Brothers. People like kids react to PewDiePie kind of deal.
Teens react, elders react.
But like I took like all like sort of awkward things he said and things like that and had people like do little sketches kind of making fun of it and things like that, you know, that kind of deal. More or less, it kind of got a little bigger than I anticipated it would. Got flagged.
He had kind of a flippant reaction to it, like he posted a comment on it.
I'll put it this way, like what happened was he made a comment that was sort of like an insult to me. Like, you know, and I'll tell this whole story, but I think it was like kind of a gentle-ish sort of insult where he's like, you know, he said something about basically like, well, you know, he meant to say to me, like, for me compiling the footage for this, like, this video I made, I had to get a lot of ad revenue. I had to give him some ad revenue, right?
Right.
Because I had to watch the videos to get the videos to make the compilation and stuff. So he's like,
and we were attracting extra viewers to him as well.
Yeah, he was like some kind of comment like, yeah, you got me, but I got you too. The only problem is like this was back in 2012 when people, I guess, don't realize like those ads you see on YouTube videos like make money for someone or something like that. But a lot of his fans turned on him then because they're like, wait a sec, you make money off this, you know, whatever. And
well, I think they took it as like him being only in it for the money instead of doing it for the fans.
Right, which even back when I was like, fuck PewDiePie, I can't stand that guy. Even then I was like, all right, that's not, you know, that's not what he meant, obviously. You know what I mean? Mm. Like, but at any rate, and he had to make sort of like a video that was like, I'm sorry, like a little apology thing to his fans. And he like, he mentioned like somebody made a childish video, which then, because I am childish, I was like, oh yeah, well, fuck you, buddy. And I like wrote this thing. And then like, I guess at some point around there, like, it went from, like, me making this video, like, it's just trolly, like, look at you, you're in trouble, your fans are mad at you, kind of thing. And then I kind of decided maybe I didn't really like him, you know? And, like, he would do, like, a thing, like, he'd give money to charity, and I wasn't, like, intentionally trying to consciously spin things, but I'd be like, oh, that's just a PR move, you know what I mean?
Using it as a shield to...
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I guess it's like sort of, I never kind of, you always think of yourself as like not doing things like that, you know, but I have to admit, like, despite the like things I had criticized or whatever, whenever I'd hear anything about him, I would like kind of unconsciously look for the negative in it, you know, which wasn't like a healthy thing or whatever. But I'm going to tell you though why that happened, because one of the fallouts of this video was a bunch of like the A-lister YouTubers kind of like reached out to me and were like, that's a funny fucking video, like that guy, he just screams and he gets all these views, it's ridiculous, you know what I mean? Like, which I don't know if it was like sour grapes or whatever, but like people like at the time were like, yeah, he's a hack, don't worry about it. But then what's funny is they started coming around on him, you know? So right. Like I would laugh with these people and stuff, and then like a few months later, like PewDiePie would come up and there'd be like, you know, he's actually a really good guy. And I was kind of like, wait, where did this heel term come from? I thought we all agreed, you know, whatever.
Compared to some other A-listers out there, shall we say.
That's kind of part of it. So, yeah. So, part of that is that, in fact, as a lot of people, these random people who play video games on the internet kind of got this fame and popularity, some of them did shitty things with it, you know? Mm. I think like of like a recent example is like all that CSGO Lotto stuff where it's like, hey, I can just out and out fucking exploit people on YouTube for, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
Right. But like, and other people, I'm sure you've heard about some of the stuff and things like that. And there's even some stuff that like people whisper about. But at any rate, PewDiePie apparently though never got into any of that stuff. Like all of us, like I guess as like time went on, people in even the A-listers who were like, yeah, he just screams and stuff, kind of realized like, actually no, he's just like this nice guy, this humble guy or whatever. And me hearing that, them telling me that, I was still like, nah, I don't believe it. I think I'm the only one.
Shit.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, I see through it. I bet I'm a little shrewd here. I get it, that kind of deal. And I like, what happened then? But another thing that happened was, is that, PewDiePie is like, he's the number one guy on YouTube. He does like Let's Play things. We're kind of in that space. And I did start to realize, like, he's going to be around for a while. So if I do kind of this whole, I can't stand the guy, he sucks thing, I'm just going to drive myself crazy, So, and I mentioned this at RTX. This is in RTX 2012, our panel. So remember somebody had like a question about like, what do you think about people who don't like you or whatever? And
vaguely, sure.
Yeah, and it was like when we cut, because it came out kind of awkward. But one of the things I had mentioned in my answer was like, it's like the PewDiePie thing where I'm like, I didn't really like him, but like he's so prominent and so around, like I would drive myself nuts if I like just hated him. So I really tried not to begrudge him like his success after a while. I was like just basically softening on it, because then people were telling me, no, he really is a good guy and stuff. But I still held out a little bit of like, I think he might still be kind of a jerk type of deal, So when he subscribed to us, I'm like, I didn't understand it at all. I'm like, just sitting there like, why? I caused him grief 4 years ago. Yes, and then I'm thinking like, what's the angle here? Like, because we have nothing to offer him. You know what I mean?
What's
like,
in it for him?
Right. Like, even if like I came out tomorrow, like if they're like came out tomorrow singing the praises of PewDiePie, and this was months back that this happened, but like, there's just nothing. I'm too, you know what I mean? Like, he has nothing to gain from it. So I'm sitting there. So Cry finally comes online, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, help me understand this. Why did PewDiePie subscribe to me? Because, he's friends with PewDiePie. So Cry's like, I was talking to PewDiePie about, I refuse to call him Pewds. He goes, I was talking to PewDiePie, right, about the whole rivalry between him and RP, and apparently he was like kind of like, PewDiePie was watching our videos recently and thought they were kind of funny. And then he basically, when Cry said that, PewDiePie was like, yeah, I guess you're right. It is a bit silly. And he said, honestly, I feel kind of bad about the way I reacted to that whole situation. And when I heard Cry say that, I had this instinctual sort of like, wait, why would he feel bad? I attacked him. And that part really threw me. And I'm like, holy shit. The only thing I can think of that works is that, like, he must actually be this really nice guy that everybody was telling me he was.
Perhaps he changed his tune a little bit from back then.
Sure. I mean, that's, I've mentioned this on streams and things like that. And I've heard people say, like, well, maybe he is a different person. And I think he even has, like, he had this video, old versus new PewDiePie. And I think he has, like, kind of grown up in a sense. I don't want to use that term to be too patronizing, but you know what I mean? Like, he's kind of, like, changed. But I will own up to the fact, too, that I was totally, like, looking at him in this bad light that he kind of didn't deserve in some ways, So, but what happens is, so a few months later, somebody, he writes a thing in his blog. I don't remember how I saw it, but he went to visit some handicapped viewer, I think, for a Make-A-Wish thing, foundation thing, and her name was Daisy, and they posted, I think she posted pictures on her Facebook, and like some people made fun of her, like her appearance and things like that,
Some of his fans.
Yeah, some people claiming to be his fans or his fan or whatever. And he wrote a thing. He's like, I couldn't take down this post because I didn't post it, but I blocked everyone who made a joke and each and every person who liked the people who made those kinds of jokes. He's right. He wrote a thing like, I don't need fans like that. I'd rather one fan like Daisy rather than 42 million other people, which, by the way, I will, if that is an offer, I will take those 42 million people. But, no, but I was like, that was a really good and decent thing. I tweeted out, and it's become more and more apparent that PewDiePie is a nice guy. And he wrote back to me, and he's like, I replied on his Twitter, and
he said, "Fuck you, go to hell."
He's like, "Yeah, fuck you, go to hell."
It's a happy ending.
He said this was all a trick just to fuck with me.
I got you.
And then my wife left me for PewDiePie. And my daughter calls him dad now. I'm so pissed. Damn,
your life is over.
He took my job, my friends, my family.
The longest con.
Felix, it was a 7-minute video. I'm sorry. No, no, but like, I tweeted that. He wrote back like, oh, he goes, same to you, although it took me a while to realize it. Then he emailed me, and I won't mention because I didn't ask him his like permission to talk about what he wrote in the email or whatever, but I'll just say like, he's like, hey, just, it's really me because I followed you on Twitter. And it's just basically like very gracious and like, kind of like, your video actually was kind of funny and it like kind of made me think about some of the things. And, so you got me and thanks in a way. It was just like really nice. And I wrote back, please give me money. No, no, I wrote back and there's just like, I don't really like to talk about the whole inventing Let's Play thing because I go with the whole father of Let's Play thing. But sometimes I do feel like kind of responsible for some of that stuff and some of the bad actors in it. So I'm like, I kind of go, ugh, I feel bad about that. But like, you can't really pick who bubbles up to the top or becomes the ambassador for something like that. This thing like we were all part of on SA and that like kind of grew past us into YouTube and all that. But if you needed like an ambassador or celebrity or someone who's going to go on like the Stephen Colbert show and talk about shit like this, it might as well be somebody who actually is a good guy and not like a total dickhead who, exploits fans and does shitty things to them and stuff, So I basically told him that. Yeah. So I guess that is the hatchet well and truly buried in an enemy's skull as of Age of Barbarian. No, Cause that's so basically, we're I guess kind of cool now.
Now we're best friends.
And then I wrote back and he's like, go fuck yourself. I wrote you the one email. That's all you're getting. No, I'm kidding, of course. So good for him. And I will say it was crappy because he meant it was kind of crappy of Polygon to implicate him. He'd like to compare him to the CSGO Lotto people. Did you hear about that?
Oh, no, I didn't.
No, there was like kind of some controversy with Age of Mortar. He made a video about it, like where.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, he said like, I did say it was like I did disclose it was like a paid thing. He's like, I did do it for the fold, but whatever. But Polygon was like, this is kind of like the CSGO Lotto thing, and it's like, no, it isn't. Like the CSGO Lotto thing is some dark fucking shit. Did you ever see the guy's apology for that?
Which guy?
So like the whole scam with CSGO Lotto where it's like this online casino kind of thing where you, for like Counter-Strike something.
They're like sponsors on a bunch of shows and shit.
Yeah. And like, but the people who like were like actually had stake in the casino, like one of them I think was the vice president, made these YouTube videos where
Joe Biden?
Yes. No, where like where he's quote unquote gambling on the site, but he owns part of it. And he doesn't tell people that, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh man, the stakes are really high. It's like, no, they're not, because if you lose, the money's still yours, It was this total lie kind of thing, and he's like, and then there's this whole thing about he's like kind of influencing kids to gamble and shit like that. But like, this guy's name, one of the guys in it, I think his name is like T. Martin or something like that. He has a video where he's going to apologize for not disclosing that he was part of the casino that he helped advertise, I keep calling it casino, but it's like gambling site, you know what I mean? But this is what he does. He gets his golden retriever, like to like jump on him, and I forget the dog's name, like he's like, okay, good boy, this is gonna be a hard video for me to make, Ralphie. And then he pushes the dog away and he starts in on his apology. It's like this super transparent thing. Like, are you
like a shitty political ad or something?
Yeah, like, are you but like a really shitty political ad? Like, are you really just blatantly saying, look, I have a dog, I can't be a bad guy kind of thing? It's so ridiculous.
Maybe we'll get an email from him one day.
Maybe. I was just thinking that. Yeah, no, I know that's old
Bury
news.
That shit.
I know that's old news, but I couldn't believe the fucking golden retriever.
Adults react to CSGO. Make it
happen. That's all my topics. Let's get the fuck out of here.
It's a nice feel-good story to end.
No, it is, yeah. I honestly, it's funny the way I am, too. I'm like, this is getting too cheesy and nice and stuff. Get into the CSGO Lotto horrible shit, because I'm a bad person. But, like, no, so, cheers to you, to PewDiePie. I wish I wish I could go back and tell my 2012 self I'd be like cool with PewDiePie then, because I'd have never believed it.
If you want to be on the podcast, Pewds.
I didn't make that offer. He did. But yeah, sure.
We'll do it if you just pay us a couple $1 million.
He's too hot. He's so in the stratosphere. I can't even believe you asked. I'm so embarrassed. Felix, he didn't mean it. Just shut the fuck up and worship.
$5 million each. Final offer.
Please just tell people to like and subscribe. I'll take anything. You know what's great too is when you like do like exchange like an email like that with PewDiePie, is that then low tax tweets you and you're like, get the fuck away from me, you scrub. You fucking ant. I'm just joking.
You left the cultural lexicon years ago, buddy.
I know. And then Total Biscuit's like, hey, Slow Beef, how you doing? I'm like, who the fuck are you? And then I'm like, wait, I'm just kidding.
Do you know who I've talked to?
And then PewDiePie doesn't respond to my email. I'm like, Total Biscuit, come back. Oh God, Low Tax, where are you going?
Low Tax, you want to do videos again?
That help me.
Scarboy, remember me?
Nobody remembers Scarboy.
Crocon?
Crocon? Jack Slate?
Bitch.